Sup nerds of YouTube. So I got the official, or the most official tier list you're gonna get for Ultimate right here with me right now on this very screen. This is a tier list made by members of the Ult rank top 100 in the world, basically voting on characters, and then it was congregated into one aggregate tier list. So I'm just gonna go through it and talk about the things that I think are interesting on this tier list. I'm not trying to make this video take forever, so I'm gonna just highlight what I think is cool, right? So going bottom up, starting off, poor Ganondorf. He's been the worst character for like 3 smashes straight now. I remember when Ultimate came out, I was like, he's not great, but he's not awful. Man, I was wrong. But man, also, did they like not buff him at all? I guess because he's really strong on like Elite Smash and just in like casuals. But poor Ganondorf. The only thing I think is notable here is I think like Max should be at least D tier. I'm not gonna be here like writing essay why Max is not E tier. It's not that big of a deal, but he definitely, if your character can't play super lame versus him, he can be really hard to fight, to be honest. And now a lot of characters that good can play super lame in Ultimate, but still, I don't feel like he's shut down as consistently as like D or K roll. Although K roll arguably could be D tier, but I care about that less. But yeah, honestly, I was surprised we didn't have more characters in this tier. But let's go into the next tier to talk about that a little bit, where I think a good amount of these characters, I mean, they're all pretty bad characters. Like Kirby, Doc, Plant, Zelda, like all be E tier potentially. The only characters here that I'm like, I think Misori is super underrated. I think Misori is a character no one's really bothered exploring just because people look at Mies and go, I'm playing Smash. I could play like Mario, Pikachu, Rosa, Olimar, Min, Pit, Sora, Toon Link, Mega Man, you know, all cool characters. Or I guess Steve. Anyway, but who's going to play Misori, right? Who goes, yeah, I remember playing Wii Bowling and it was my favorite thing in the world, and there's a representation of it. So I think this character is a lot better than people think. Mia's actually kind of trolling, but beating people in Japan with the character. So yeah, maybe Sori shouldn't be here. Maybe Kirby shouldn't be here. We're starting to see Kirby results actually, which is crazy to say, but might just be like people gotta learn the matchup. And then Bowser Jr. I know I put him low on my tier list, and I think I'm wrong about that. I think there's a universe where Bowser Jr. is at least C tier, maybe B tier, to be honest. He might actually be really good. And he was awful in Smash 4, and no one's really explored him in Ultimate, but I was playing against TM Zap, who can't really travel much, but like he's good with the character, and I'm like, something's off. Like, something is clearly wrong with my opinion on this character after my games I got farmed by him. But anyway, yeah, so otherwise, most of this makes sense. D+ tier. I think DK should be at least C tier, but whatever. I'm glad, by the way, that people, at least like the good players, recognize Isabelle is better than Villager. I think the gap is much bigger than this, but the fact that we're acknowledging as a community, yeah, Isabelle is better than Villager. It's like, finally! Anyway, next tier. And keep in mind, this tier list was made by ult rank players worldwide, so it is NA, Europe, Japan, etc. Representation on this list, and I think it was actually pretty equal voting from all different regions. So I just thought that's pretty cool, and that'd be really relevant. I think we'll talk about these next couple tiers. But yeah, so first of all, I don't know why Duck Hunt's this low. Well, I know why, because there isn't a good Duck Hunt player like taking names at tournaments. But I think Duck Hunt's a character that's very weird for people to play, and most people just don't like playing him, which is reasonable. You play this character, he just feels off. He doesn't feel strong immediately. I think Duck Hunt's an amazing character, to be honest. I could see him in B tier if like someone were to push him. I don't think it's going to happen within the lifespan of Ultimate. But I'm just saying right now, this is wrong. This is so wrong. Banjo might also be a lot higher, to be honest. Torigi, I can't say his name. The Japanese Banjo who beat Zamba is very good at this game. Might be showing us the world this character is super underrated. Or if Tweet continues to play his character. But he plays a lot of characters, right? And then like he doesn't really like commit to him super hard, which makes sense because he has Diddy Kong, who's like a top tier character. But I would love to see like Tweet committing to his character and seeing where he can push him, because like this character, Banjo might actually have a lot of sauce that we just didn't really know about. Poor Bowser though. He used to be good. Bowser used to be like actually a really good character, and then it's just I don't know what happened. I feel like he feels good still, but I guess everyone's just kind of pushed past him meta wise. Like I think Bowser players kind of figured him out pretty early, and I guess his meta is a little bit shallow. Also, Lucario being here, crazy but not crazy. Like, he's kind of awful, but also like really scary in tournaments. I guess I can see it. Thank goodness, by the way, good players think Link and Chrom are bad. I've been saying these characters are bad for a while, or relatively bad. Now everyone's, yeah. Same with Pichu, right? Where I told a good player, where I'm telling him, like, yeah, character's not that great. And then I'm being told, no, Dabuz, you're wrong. Pichu's great. Granted, I think he's actually underrated now a little bit. He'll go back into B tier eventually. I feel like Incineroar should be at least B tier too. He's like a heavyweight without the main weakness of heavyweights of like being super combo food. Like, yeah, he's combo food, but he's not a massive body character for his weight. And that's a big deal. And also his recovery is not amazing, but it's good and has mix-ups. So I don't know. Incineroar is kind of hard to fight. He one-shots you. He lives forever. Frame rate is amazing. Hard to kill. Has good hitboxes. And like, he's just slow. And there's a lot of characters that are kind of slow that are really good. So I'm surprised he's down here. But I guess if you consider the only good Incineroar is Skyjay, really. Like, Europe and Japan especially doesn't really get to fight against good Incineroar. So they're probably underrating him. Also, Icy's, I think, is underrated. It's like, if you look at this list as like a solo main list, it kind of makes sense. But if you consider characters as like a duo main or counter pick potential, Icy should be a lot higher. B tier. And I saw this part of the list and I'm like, this is the really interesting part. And probably where most of my disagreements are. Like, Meta Knight should not be here. No, he should be lower for sure. Neutral's not good. His combos can be really good. Most time don't work that well. Can get him killed if he goes for them. It's rough for Meta Knight. And Inkling, I think, sucks. But anyway, it's like Mega Man Ness should be higher. After losing to Toon Link twice in the past year, maybe I've underrated him a little bit. Maybe he's actually pretty good. Or maybe I suck against the character. But then again, like in Japan, Toon Link's always been considered the best Link. So I don't know. I could see Toon Link being a lot higher than this. I think he at this point is better than Young Link, because I think Young Link kind of sucks, to be honest. Sucks is a hard word. Harsh word to use. I think Young Link is overrated and has been for a while and should be even lower than B+. Definitely somewhere B-. Yeah, also, Ken has become the worst FGC character, and honestly, yeah, I can see it. After Asuma's consistent results with Ryu in Japan, it's like, alright, you know what? Maybe Ryu is really good. But yeah, Ken kind of just, I don't know. He like seems okay. But I feel like the character's meta hasn't evolved for a while. Like, he just kind of plays the same he did a couple years ago. And that's a rough spot to be in nowadays. Here, yeah, it makes sense. I always say Rosa should be higher. Maybe low-key bottom of A tier. But I think at least put her where Olimar is. But I think everyone who watches my videos knows my opinion on Olimar. Where it's like, if you fight him, he's great. If you camp him out and basically play to time him out, he's garbage. Just time out Olimar, guys. Yeah, about here. Oh, I was making this like a video with like Meister and MK Leo about this tier list, right? And I saw a pit and I'm like, nah, I should be lower. There's no way. And then I sent the video. It'd be funny if I lost to Zachary. Then I lost to Zachary at Genesis, and I'm like, if you just space back here really well with Pit, he's not great, but I can see why he's here, especially if you're in Japan. And you're fighting him. I can see Japanese players fighting Zachary and going, you know, Pit's pretty good. So I get this placing. I don't want to agree with it because it's going to be like, yeah, I lost to Zachary, so I agree with it. But my eye may have been open a little bit. Actually overrated here. He should be like, low-key Falcon should be like C+ tier. That's going to be crazy to say. But the character feels like it offers nothing nowadays compared to actual good characters. And then B+ tier is Luigi has to be higher. There's Luigi's in North America, Europe, and Japan consistently getting great results. He should at least be A- tier in my opinion, which is crazy because I think I put him as 40 in, like about 40 in my tier list, and now I'm like 2 months later, no, higher. Invest in Luigi stocks, they're going up. But when a character can hit you and like kill you off almost anything and has like good neutral tools, yeah. All right, and also Sephiroth. I always feel like this character is better than people give him credit for. I think he's not a great solo main because he has some awful matchups, but I think he's like min minus where like his good matchups are so oppressively good for him. And he'd be an amazing duo main. It's just that a lot of Sephiroth players kind of play him as like a secondary and don't really believe in him. So I don't think you ever see the true potential of the character. But trust, he should be higher. Also, Mii Brawler should be higher. One of these days, someone's going to really push Mii Brawler, beat top players consistent with the character, and everyone's going to go, yeah, we knew he could do it. Like, he's easily an A tier character waiting to happen. The rest of this is fine. Like, I would put Sheik a lot lower. But I play characters that shit on Sheik, so that's actually biased. So I'm like, yeah, Sheik should be lower. When I play Olimar, Rosa, who are like some of Sheik's worst matchups. But I feel like Sheik has a lot of worst matchups. Like Icy's is bad for Sheik. Steve is really bad. Like, any character just hits really hard up close with good frame data is rough for Sheik. I don't know. I don't see it. And then we get to A- tier. I'm honestly surprised Zero Suit's still here, considering, yes, any player would think of Zero Suit. Yeah, she sucks on player. But I guess it's like everyone exaggerates it a little bit because she's still here. I know she has like almost no rep outside when Mars goes to events, or like, I think it's Chu does decent at events with Zero Suit, but yeah, this character's fallen. I'm really surprised she's still an A-. Corrin's going up probably with how Shattuck and Neo are farming. Spargo's playing the character more. Like, Corrin might... I don't think this character gets to A+ tier. I don't think she's, like, broken. But I think she hits at least, like, this middle of A tier by this time next year. Bayo, by the way, might become S tier. Definitely A+ tier in a year at this rate. But low-key, Bayo might be S tier. Shades of Smash 4. I'm just saying. Also, Shulk. You could say an A tier Shulk, but you should be going behind things like Terry for sure. And PT should honestly be a lot higher, but like PT players kind of gave up on the characters. Anyway, makes sense. Drop Wolf a bit. Wolf players are struggling, and maybe just like a temporary struggle, but Wolf feels a bit solved as a character. And Wolf's weaknesses, like Wolf's way too fragile for this meta, in my opinion. Especially compared to like, the character has some cheese with like Fair Bear, but I think hitting those in good players is so hard. And I don't know with this character anymore. Wolf might be going down. I think the rest of this makes sense for the most part. Like, I can see Sora going even higher, actually. Samus is interesting because people in America don't really talk about Samus. But like, this character's everywhere in Europe. In Japan, she's decently popular and gets good results with Yora. So it's like, this character has very good results. And I'm not surprised to see her here. I think it's just funny she, like, snuck her way into top 15 over Palutena, despite no one talking about her. Also, poor Palutena. Palutena is weird. I like, want to say she should be higher a little bit. And then I look at the characters above her, and I'm like, yo, Ultimate's a really dumb game. That she's not even really, like, top 15, I don't even question it anymore. Also, I think every person in Japan puts Yoshi in top 5. Yoshidora and Ron, I think there's, like, one of the Japanese Yoshi are just farming there consistently. And it makes sense. I'll probably make a video on Yoshi at some point because this character is actually really good and has been... Even I didn't realize how good he was for a while. So it makes sense he's here. Almost an S tier, right? Honestly, all these make sense. Cloud, very strong character. His polarized weaknesses are a little bit too much to be S tier. So like, this is perfect for him. Mimic can honestly sneak into S- tier again at some point. Kazuya is a little bit on the downfall, though. I think he's only getting worse over time. Just because I feel like he destroys so many characters, sure. But then, like, the really good characters can just, like, not fight. And if you just don't fight Kazuya, you completely don't interact, you go for timeout. It's rough for him. And obviously, suffering jump squat, bad disadvantage state. Like, it makes, like, on one hand, it's like, I can see a universe where he's S tier, like, people refigure some counterplay out. But on the other hand, I can see as, like him not having answers for, like, optimal super lane meta and just falling off. Oh, speaking of falling off, Joker is eventually going to drop out of here. He's, like, slowly been dropping off. I was honestly surprised he's in here. But I think at this point, you could make very good arguments for really all the A+ characters over Joker. So I'm surprised he's there. He does get decent results everywhere. But, like, I feel like all these characters have better results than Joker. And I don't feel like the theory for Joker works nowadays. When, like, he loses Arsene off one combo. And everyone has insane damage output. And, like, consistent edge guards on Arsene OP. But yeah, Diddy Fox makes sense. I am always shocked when I see Peach so high. This character's good, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I always look at this character and I'm like, how does this character fight like Steve, Sonic Game Watch? Even things like Peach Rob sounds awful. Min Peach sounds awful. I feel like Kazuya Peach Cloud. I feel like there's so many matchups that should be awful for Peach. And like, yeah, she can touch it FD when super optimized. Her neutral is pretty good, but I don't know. I look at this and it's kind of like Paolo to me, where it's like the character's good, obviously, has some crazy bullshit, but there's so many more characters with more consistent bullshit and less exploitable weaknesses. I also think when you look at the next tiers, I would put Rob in front of Snake, so like make Rob 4, and then everything else is pretty correct. But I also look at these top 6 characters, and I think these are like the best characters, and like no one else comes close. Like I would, if I made this. Granted, I don't have the numbers in front of me. But, like, in my head, I put the top 6 as, like, their own tier above everyone else. Like, put Peach to Joker in, like, A+ or something. because these are like the gods of Ultimate at this point. Snake is probably the least like godly feeling of them, of all of them, honestly, because he has some rougher matchups. But like Super Optimal Snake is absurd, and then like Aegis obviously has some really rough times with her recovery. Well, even then she's absurd. Game & Watch is Game & Watch, although like he's absurd, but maybe we're overrating him a little bit, but it's hard to say. But yeah, Sonic Steve especially being the top two. It's like, especially with multiple Sonics, like if Sonics and Ken being potentially top 10 player, or Sonics definitely can maybe. I think Wrath could be a top like 20 player in the future with the character. And then Steve is Steve. I think it's interesting. It's like the list makes sense. You know, I have a lot of disagreements. What I thought was very interesting is that as you get higher up into the list, I have more agreements. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense compared to the bottom where I'm like, oh, these people are really sleeping on this character. Maria is actually a good representation of like the overall world meta. So, cool list. Dabuz approved. Hope you guys thought this was a interesting little video, and I'll catch you for the next one. Bye.